Mis corazones. There's so much to cover, o sea, that I want to cover. And there's so much that happened recently. From the blue wave, I mean, you know how bad you gotta be the president for Mississippi to turn blue? Mamdani, my mayor, I'm in Los Angeles, waiting in New York City, and the people who are saying that they're going to move. Good. And while you're on your way out, let me know where your apartment's at. And I hope that the landlords drop their prices. También, it's Mes de la Patria. Shout out to Panama, mis compatriotas, los panameños, C3, Colonensa, ustedes saben. The Grammys nominations, which was so exciting. And I have thoughts on this whole DJ Vlad, Joyner Lucas controversy because, oh my God, I feel like it's long overdue and I feel like it matches what's going on the internet in regards to this discourse. So ustedes saben, let's get right into it. Aquí en Reggaeton Con La Gata. Would I be me if I didn't talk about this blue wave that's happening right now? So this past Tuesday of November, o sea, the first Tuesday of the month, there were elections across the country. There were things that were voted on in California. Shout out to those who voted yes on 50. Shout out to those who voted for Mamdani in New York. The highest turnout in years. Okay. Mississippi turned blue. All right. Mi gente, like, I think that, sure, Trump is the president, but was actually on the ballots were his policies. And I think, honestly, this is the most important part of elections, honestly. The policies, the representatives, the people who are going to cater to the actual people, right? Because they work for us. All these leaders, the mayors, the governors, the senators, the representatives, they work for the people, and we are the people. So the president may be cool and all with, the figurehead, but at the end of the day, son ellos que controlan la cosa, y son nosotros que tenemos que ponerlo ahí, y tenemos el poder de quitarlo. So, shout out to those who went out and voted. I, in particularly, shout out to Mayor Wu of Boston, where I'm from. She had no competition. As she shouldn't, because, I mean, she's done a great job. There's no reason for her to move, and there's no reason for anyone to challenge her. Cough, cough, the son of Robert Kraft. Like, sir, what are you doing? But yeah, I do want to focus on some of the hot takes that I've seen on Mamdani, because I feel like some of them aren't it, bro. First of all, Noah Tishby extended an invitation for him to visit Israel. She said, oh, come to the Middle East. We have the biggest pride in the Middle East. First of all, this all seems very violent. I don't think that's a good idea. And then also I see people saying, you see what happens when you vote. So I know I just commended y'all for voting. And also I do want to be super, super clear. The people are happy to vote when they have something to vote for. I think that Mamdani winning, right? So many people, oh my God, he's a democratic socialist. Oh my God. Like he's too out there. He needs to bring it back some. Oh my God. No, mi gente. I think that he represents a group that for far too long have been ignored, for far too long have been gaslit into thinking that we're just too immature to really understand what we're asking for. Man, all we really want is rent that's affordable and food. All this SNAP nonsense, that doesn't come from us. Those ideas do not come from progressive people. How on earth are we the richest country on this planet, the highest GDP, okay? With people starving, without universal health care. These are really acts? These are things to ask for? These are not basic human rights? Oh my God, I get it. These companies want to make money. Make your money. But do people need to suffer in the process? I don't think so. I think people are really like putting things together in the idea of like, there is a better way. There has to be a better way. We have case study after case study in countries outside of the US. We're simply trying to apply that right here. And nobody would suffer in the process. I believe Zara Mamdani went on record to say that with the budget that some billionaires took out to put out $1 million ads so that he can lose, like the propaganda towards him, was way more money in dollar amount in comparison to what they would actually be taxed. Everybody's moving silly at the end of the day. So you see what happens when you vote? Let's be clear, and I said it in my last episode. People will happily vote, but give them something to vote for. No, people were not okay with voting for Kamala Harris. Would have been cool to have the first black female president, absolutely. But how long are people gonna go for representational politics? Ya está bueno. We want something real. As soon as my mayor won, I'm gonna take this joke all the way. As soon as my mayor won, he went to Puerto Rico for the Somos political retreat. He visited a mosque and he gave a speech where he said, Puerto Rico no se vende y Nueva York tampoco. Hellos. También there's reports, not sure how official the channels are, regarding some anxiety in the NYPD because of the idea of leniency coming from a mayor with these sort of policies. And there's an influx of requests of transfers to other states like South Carolina, Virginia, etc. from members of the NYPD, which, since we're on topic, is the largest police force in the nation, more than 50,000. What is going, like, I get it, New York, there's a lot of people, but also that's OD. That's OD. ¿Y pa' qué? So yeah. And I just think, okay, I can hop around a lot. I could say a lot. But if you're going to walk away with anything, is that I think that the Democratic Party ought to use this as a case study as to what's possible when the people's ideas are respected, and to stop gaslighting us in our intelligence. No, we don't have to wait. What is MLK's quote? Justice delayed is justice denied? Like, why are people, like, we have a housing crisis, okay? I don't know how many homeless people are in New York City, but it's the number's high. And not forget New York City, the country. Like, there's a housing crisis, there are food deserts. It's all very embarrassing, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, too much resources for us to be living like this. Entonces, sí. Bravo, Mamdani. So happy you won. Shout out to you. I wish I was in New York, but I'm in LA, but I will support from afar. Y sí, y en adelante. One of the topics that I want to talk about in this episode that I have not mentioned in the intro is the fact that Rosalia is embracing her inner and outer white woman. For those of y'all who are listening, and for those of y'all who know Reggaeton Con La Gata, you know that I've critiqued Rosalia over the years. You can read my direct quotes in Nylon magazine. I've critiqued Rosalia over the years and accused her of cultural appropriation, which I think she has done. And other people agree with me. For context, for those who are like, girl, what are you talking about? She's a Spaniard artist, very decorated, who came out into the scene, the Latin music scene. Again, she's Spaniard, Latin music. It's already getting testy. She decided that she wanted to make music outside of flamenco, which is really her roots. And she was creating music that is considered, quote unquote, música urbana, aka urban music, aka black music, black rooted music. The Latin music industry has a really big issue with assigning black music to white presenting artists. Now, a lot of y'all hearing that like, oh, are you saying that like J Balvin can't? No. I'm just saying, I'm just calling a spade, y'all. Duela que no duela. It's the truth at the end of the day. And so I have said that if you're going to enter a space in a specific soundscape and that it's black rooted, to uplift people from that soundscape. And Rosalia did. She made the song Linda with Tokisha. It was pretty good, if I do say so myself. I love the music video, if I do say so myself. I love that when they presented, when Rosalia went to go perform the song, Tokisha was right there. It gave Tokisha visibility. It gave Dominicanidad visibility. And that's major. Why? Because there's a history, I'm a historian, in Latin music of Dominican music and Dominican artists just being overlooked, right? Being overlooked, underpaid, getting into really horrible work for hires. Oh, yeah. and just pretty much just not getting the credit that's due. Look at El Alfa and all that he had to do to really get there. He should have been there a long time ago. Not to mention, you can read more about this, and I did the coverage for Rolling Stone when he first sang at the Madison Square Garden, that he had to put his own money down because people didn't believe that he could do it. Sold it out multiple days in a row. And this is my point. Like, there are too many stereotypes out there because people don't want to invest in Dominicanidad or black music or black presenting artists. And I think that's really dumb, especially in 2025. So, Rosalia, I appreciated that she did that song Linda and that she gave Toquisha that visibility in multiple formats and multiple examples. There has been conversation regarding her doing flamenco music because that comes from people who are considered Moors. But really, I could go all day into that, but really, I've said all that I needed to say. My point right now is not to critique. I'm actually trying to give this girl her flowers. I like the Lux album. I think she did a good job. I love that she did this orchestra, and I love that she sang in German. What the hell? Like, it's now being translated into 14 languages? Nah. I love how European this is, not gonna lie to you. And I think this is proof that you really don't have to lie or try to act like you're something you're not in order to be successful. Good to her for going back to her roots. I am not excited for another wave of trying to get into Urbano for relevance. I think she stands good all on her own and in her own right and in a light that's true to who she is. And I don't think that's necessary. Like, costuming Caribeña identity. I don't think she needs to do that. And so I really like this Lux album. I invite y'all to listen to it. If you don't like it, I want to hear your thoughts. Like, I really think it's fire. I'm not gonna lie to you. Easy. The only last thing I have to say here is that she made some comments regarding, like her being the opposite of Bad Bunny. And I think it was a little cringe, but only because it was so true. I think it's true. She's a Spaniard, European, with ancestry that has a legacy of ... The reason why we all speak Spanish. Colonization, not for nothing. And Bad Bunny is Puerto Rican, blanco, claro, but Puerto Rican from a colonized island. And so if we had to call opposites, well, yeah. Of course, her approach and that of someone from an artist who's from a colonized island is going to be different. And I think that's what she was trying to recognize, but I think she said it weird. So I do want to say that. Wepa. I know it's getting good, but we'll be right back right after these messages. Después de estos anuncios, así que no se muevan. Don't move. The Grammy nominations are out. And I realize on the internet there's a bit of discourse, so I'm about to dissuade some rumors because it's just malinformation. O sea, ignorance. I'm a Recording Academy member for anyone who wants to check me. And so a lot of people don't know how it works because I know a lot of people are like, why isn't this person nominated or what's going on? And so I'll break it down. First of all, for you to win a Grammy, you have to drop between a certain time period. And you have to submit during a certain time period. And then you get voted for. That's when you start seeing those graphics that are like, for your consideration, but it doesn't mean that you're nominated. You might have seen me post it, because I released an instrumental album last year, Perreo 101, being in my nerdy tip. It's an instrumental album where I was literally trying to demonstrate the musicology of reggaeton. It's fun, if I do say so myself. Shout out to Randy Class, Grammy Award winning, Pamela Velez, Latin Grammy Award winning, De La Mia. Shout out to Big Chrissy Draco. Yo amo mi barrio studios, Hood Studios in DR. And shout out to my boy Javi. And shout out to me. We all did this project together and it's beautiful. I invite you to check it out. So yeah, you can post the graphic for your consideration, but that doesn't mean you're nominated. So you submit during a time period, you drop during a time period, you submit during a time period, you drop the graphic for your consideration, people vote for you, and then you get nominated. And then after that, hopefully you win. So that's how it works. And that's the reason why Taylor Swift wasn't nominated. That's the reason why you don't see Cardi's new album there. They didn't get snubbed. That's the reason why. So, yeah. And outside of that, I did want to say I think it's really dope that Glorilla is the first female artist to go against herself in the same category. That's dope. And would I be like, estamos en flow, no somos hater. It's really dope, all the nominations that Bad Bunny has. I mean, let's be for real. This man got Album of the Year, Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Global Musical Performance, Best Música Urbana Album, and Best Album Cover. Now, I think one of the funniest things I've seen online is people saying, okay, but how does this chair with these leaves in the background equal a great album cover? Remember that conversation at the top of his drop where he was like, I am just speaking to Puerto Ricans? You kind of have to keep that in mind, y'all. I think that the album cover is a beautiful representation of that Caribbean living. If you're from La Isla, una de las islas, you understand that. And so, yeah, that's what he's speaking to. But yeah, no, I think it's dope. I'm excited to see what those wins end up being. You see? That's it for the Grammy nominations. And I would be lying to God if I didn't say that I was not rooting hard for Duran Bernard. Duran Bernard, I am a fan. If you hear this ever, I don't like using the word stan, but I am a big fan of yours. I fell in love with Duran Bernard when I first saw him perform, and I invite y'all to go watch it on NPR Tiny Desk. It was breathtaking. First of all, the humor in the wardrobe. Why was this man and his band dressed like Penny Proud from the Proud Family? Like, what on earth? But, oh my God, the mic is on. The mic is on. The mic is on. You could so tell that he's trained from church. I grew up in church as a soprano, now I'm an alto. But, like, point is, I grew up with the choir directors, and I just feel like Duran Bernard, like, inspires me to be extra. Be extra. Be Duran Bernard. No, I am so seriously rooting for him. I think that he's so important as an artist, fangirling aside, because we're in an age where people don't want to, like, commit to making music. There are all these label and industry sort of, like, parameters, right? it was Summer Walker the other day who was like, I love 4, 5, 6, 7, 10-minute songs, but I be having to make my songs shorter because of the label. It's a real thing. So I just appreciate someone who is, like, in love with their artistry. I appreciate someone who is singing. If you're going to be a singer, sing. If you're going to be a rapper, rap. And I think that every time Duran Bernard touches a mic, he's blessing it. So I really hope he wins. Like, I think his artistry is to another level that others should aspire to. And I know that's saying a lot. So, yeah. So many topics today. Yo no puedo, like, continuar este show sin dar flores a mi gente de Panama. Let's be for real. Panamanians, we celebrate all month, you heard? November 3rd is Separation Day. That's the day that we got our independence from Colombia. Yes, if you didn't know, up until 1903, we were part of Colombia. And then on November 5th, it's Colón Day. For those of y'all who never been to Panama or know nothing about Panama, Colón is like the blackest city in Panama. 9 times out of 10, when you meet a black Panamanian, people are going to be like, oh, are you from Colón? But don't get it twisted. There's black Panamanians everywhere. In La Capital, in Chiriquí, in Chorrera, everywhere. My mom is from Colón. So shout out to Cetre. November 5th is Colón Day. And then November 28th is our independence from Spain. So since there's so many independence, things to, like, celebrate. And then every week is like Mes de la Semana de la Patria, whatever, in different cities within Panama. We celebrate the whole month. You will find carnivals, you will find celebrations in the street, you'll see that people aren't working like that. It's just like a festive time where people, like, really tap into Panamanian identity. And yeah, with that said, would I be me if I didn't get into our music? I want to highlight, yes, Mesa la Patria, but by doing it by giving flowers to Panamanian artists. Because I feel like we're still severely underrepresented. And I have ideas as to why. Shout out to me, really, for having different Panamanian artists within the scope of this podcast. No, episode 4 with Bolsa. That was an episode I had with Bolsa and Ave La Sensacion. Episode 10, Nino Augustine. And episode 29, oh my God. Episode 29 with Keisha Gully, who was in the Rapidito segment. Panamanians. I feel like we're we're a misunderstood breed. Bolsa, if you're gonna get into Bolsa, I would recommend that you check out his song Echa Pa' Mi. That's like my favorite song of his. Bolsa is an amazing contemporary artist who, in my opinion, represents like the best of what it means for a Panamanian to be in the mainstream. I think that everything that he carries, he's so like conscious of who he is that even though he makes music that is considered more popular, it still has that Panamanian twang to it, which I think is necessary. I think elements of like Panamanian identity exist in mainstream, but people don't know it comes from us. Hence the argument that always come between Panamanians and Puerto Ricans or whoever about who made reggaeton, which is exhausting in 2025. Sage, shout out to Sage, who I've interviewed various times throughout my career. Sage, I think, is Panamanian excellence. I love when he did his roll-off for 42, Never Mind Otro Trago with Darel. I think Sage, his magic is truly in his writing. Every time I speak with someone, they're like, oh my God, me encanta sus letras. It's always the writing. I think him and Bolsa differentiate with what they touch on with what is our specific romantic style, que es súper panameño. Sage, I think, brilla de su forma muy único, and I will always root for him. Los Racas, de lo mío personal. If they were hearing this right now, they know exactly what the heck I would mention. It is their song Me Enamoró. I need a Me Enamoró EP. I need a Me Enamoró album. I need a Me Enamoró like 10 more singles. That to me, because I love reggaeton, of course, is like their best song. Los Racas are a duo, primo duo, that are based in Oakland, California, holding it down for hip-hop en español. Grammy nominated. So young, so contemporary, so fresh, and just honestly, they make me excited for like what, quote unquote, what the kids are up to, which is funny because I'm younger than them. If we're gonna get technical. But like, I just feel like they always represent like a new take on things, and I appreciate that. Nino Augustine. If you don't know who Nino Augustine is, you didn't listen to episode 10. Shout out to Nins, based in Atlanta now, who, in my opinion, has been on the Afrobeat, Afro house wave way before all these new cats got on it. Before Ozuna dropped this album. Before Bunny had that feature with Ira Star. Before all these artists. And does that matter? Yes, because Afrobeat is something that is ancestral. It's something that's super black. It's something that the Latin music industry really wants to get its hooks into. But if I had to guess why it hasn't gone farther, it's because it's hard. It's hard to do black music, ain't it? It's why when non-Dominican people try to make dembow, they sound crazy. I'm looking at you on way. I don't know what that was. I can't even tell you the name of the song, but I remember putting it on and taking it off. I was like, what on earth is this? Leave it to the domies. But, okay, I think this is a good point. When music is too black and people can't touch it, they write it off. But I think that's corny. All you gotta do is support black people, bro. It's mad simple. But anyway, shout out to Nins. You should listen to episode 10, mi gente. Anyuri Elisama Denfra. Lorna. Lorna, you know how I feel about you, girl. Lorna is one of my earliest followers. And in my opinion, she's one of the pioneers of perreo. Her song Papi Chulo no es pa' ir pa' iglesia. Papi Chulo es para enamorar el hijo o la hija de alguien en la discoteca. Lorna's Papi Chulo is, I think, one of the best examples that like Panamanians could do perreo too. I know people hear Panamanian and they think reggae en español, reggae, Rasta, dancehall, which are all things to be super proud of. Do not get me wrong. I am proudly half Jamaican and super proud of my roots and its influence in la música latina. And we're not versatile because, case in point, the next artist I'm about to mention, Flama, whose song Rumba is a great example that he did with King Black and Costi, is a soca en español. When on earth do you hear soca en español?
El ritmo por las venas te corre, te conozco y no sé de dónde. Baby, por favor, dame tu nombre. Quiero ser tu hombre, quiero ser tu hombre. Tiene una pinta de chica seria, pero no es así cuando menea. Rompe y tiene todo el flow.
The last time you hear soca en español in the mainstream was Jolie Randy's No Te Veo. Panamanians make this on the regular. When it comes to those super African-rooted genres, soca, calypso, compas, which is based in like Haitian music. None of us, we don't speak Creole, bro. But you're gonna hear compas if you go to Panama, if you go to the hood. DJ Chombo, Cuentos de la Cripta, in my opinion, is one of the best examples that Panamanians contributed to reggaeton. Oh, I'm gonna go there. I know whenever this fight comes up online, people usually mention El General, Nando Boom. But in my opinion, sonically, right? That boom chick boom, right? Get out your feelings. Vamos a hablar de lo técnico, de cómo se escucha un reggaetón. Eso es lo que puro uno está escuchando en Cuentos de la Cripta y no se puede negar. Cuentos de la Cripta is so reggaeton that like even like Puerto Rican reggaetoneros crossed over on it. You'll find Baby Rasta and Gringo. You'll find other artists who were in the noise. Why? Porque fue la misma época. And that was really the first time like Latin music mixtapes were like put Latin, like Spanish language mixes were put together. That emplayero, that, you know what I mean? But for some reason, there's amnesia, and for some reason, I'm gonna go with it, xenophobia. Like, como que la gente no le pueden comprender when it came from the hands of a Panamanian. Which to me is corny. Like, we did that. He did that. Y sí. Shout out to Renato, who de Chica de los Ojos Café.
¿Recuerdas cuando te conocí? ¿Recuerdas lo que me dijiste? Que eras mi chica de los ojos café.
Which is the first commercial Spanish language reggae en español, which is beautiful for many reasons, sure, with what you're listening to, but visually, I just love that he was giving love and light to like a black woman, una chica de los ojos café, a girl with brown eyes. Because in today's world, it's other colored eyes that are praised. And there's a lot of insinuations in that as well. So I appreciate that. How, like, what a way to kick off un movimiento. El Rookie, who in my opinion is one of the most misunderstood, underestimated, undervalued artists of all time in el movimiento. One of the biggest inspirations of artists like De La Ghetto, who is one of the artists who was able to break out into R&B in español, and has gone on record to say that he has been inspired by Rookie. The thing is, and what makes me laugh about some of these arguments online, is that people go back and forth, oh my God, no, we did that, oh my God. But the people who were actually there are actually way more humble. They're not wasting time talking about who did what. They know who did what. And whenever I interview them, they're always giving flowers to each other. I wish we would move in that direction because truly none of this is productive. But yeah, El Rookie, ¿Por qué te fuiste? Is definitely my favorite. I think that this man, his style, his romantic style is beautiful. His blend of R&B, which I don't even want to call it R&B. I want to call it rhythm and blues, which is what it stands for. Because of just how deep and sentimental his music is. With his romantic style, into his reggaeton. He makes reggaeton. He made like the first sad reggaeton, if I'm being honest with you. And I think that's beautiful. Japanese, que Dios lo bendiga, que descanse en paz, is the Panamanian prodigy rapper who just passed away not too long ago in 2025. Japanese was a controversial figure, bro. Can't lie. He stressed me out. But Japanese was, in my opinion, someone who needs to exist. Culture is not perfect, therefore music's not perfect. And I think he represented a tough, like, part of reggaeton, no, of rap, excuse me, that I just think is real to, like, certain realities. So, above all, his music, his style, his Caribbean twang in Spanish language inspired a lot of artists that we like. Ñengo Flow, Arcángel, Wisin y Yandel. It's why they have pictures together. So yeah, que Rey descanse en paz. Mis amores. I know it's just getting good, but we'll be right back right after these messages. Así que no se muevan. Don't move. Mis corazonzones. I can't finish off this list without shouting out DJ Black, who made the song Chucha Su Madre. If you don't know a Panamanian, you would never have heard that phrase before, and you would think I'm crazy. ¿Qué tipo de canción? ¿Qué tipo de frase? But that's one of our most common, like, cuss out words or cuss out phrases. That song went viral. It's a song that's repetitive and goes to the Dougie Fresh beat. Y'all know which one. And it has become a staple in the Panamanian sound, which makes me think of Bailando by Jimmy Bad Boy as well. La Factoria, their song Perdóname, Nando Boom. You thought I'm going to say them both. But I'm going to actually say Ella Se Mueva. I think that song's a banger. And En General, which my controversial take is that he's both a protagonist and an antagonist in reggaeton and el movimiento. Because this man had commercial success. He was the first celebrity in el movimiento. And when he decided he wanted to leave for the church, he didn't pass the baton to no one behind him. And he decided to denounce this music. How are you going to denounce this music that made you who you are, that gave you so much blessings? Could it really be so bad? I really can't with, like, a lot of people turning to religion and then calling this music demonic. No. And shout out to me. Shit. I'm an artist too, y'all. Go listen to En Vano. It's out everywhere. My instrumental album, Peje 101. And your girl's gonna drop for Thanksgiving. Yeah, I said it. And if I don't, cuss me out. Okay. Feliz mes de la patria a todos mis panameños. And to all the honorary Panamanians as well. We love y'all too. And this brings us to the last topic of this episode. This DJ Vlad Joyner Lucas tip, which, oh God, I have some very strong thoughts. So I've been advised to mind my words because I don't want to sing anything that's, like, you know, gonna get me in trouble, so bear with me. What I can say is I am not a fan of DJ Vlad. DJ Vlad has been called out online various times for anti-blackness, using the culture, things of that nature. I agree. I approve with that. I approve that message. Most recently, he announced that he was suing Joyner Lucas because he doesn't want to be on his podcast, which, first of all, that's weird. You know how many requests I want to put out there? I want to interview Mamdani. I want to interview AOC. I want to interview... I'd like to interview President Obama. I'd like to interview presidential candidate of 2024, Kamala Harris. I would like to interview so many people. But you can't be a brat, bro. Like, Lo que para ti es para ti, but that doesn't mean that, like, what kind of entitlement? I don't know. I think that that sort of like play is, of course, super violent to like sue someone. Like, what the heck? And so, yeah, for those who are listening, like, girl, who is this even? DJ Vlad is a Ukrainian American podcaster based in Cali. He's one of the best examples of the horrible things that can happen when we allow anyone to come into hip hop. Let's be for real. His quote unquote journalist is sensationalist, and the manner by which he covers Black people relies heavily on the perpetuation of stereotypes. And that's where the disconnect happens. For people like myself, who are looking to push the culture forward, but like, actually, hip hop, like every other culture out here, is not perfect. Disclaimer. I said it earlier, I'll say it again. There's sexism, xenophobia, racism, machismo that needs a reckoning like yesterday. The parts of what makes hip hop beautiful is this display of how Black people were able to change their tragedy to triumph through music, as early as with DJ Kool Herc and etc. in the Bronx, and as late as the random kid on TikTok right now who's going viral by something undeniably and unequivocally Black. But I can make a list. Like, I'm not just talking to talk, bro. Like, this is documented. This is not an original idea. It's out there. DJ Vlad made a call to action for a Black female professor from Princeton, to be fired because she was calling out, like, what is this? You know, she was calling out the harm that he has perpetuated. So to go after her job? Really? This is what you use your attention and your resources towards? And then to sue Joyner Lucas? People do not have to validate you. Never mind what's happened with Marlon Wayans. And this is not a thing where, like, I'm trying to defend celebrities. I'm literally talking about right and wrong. Just the other day on Threads, I was going off on something similar, and this is where I'm going to take it home to. The other day on Threads, I was yapping, and I said, I've been witnessing too many non-Black people speak with bass in their voice on Black issues while speaking over actually Black people, all while forgetting who they are, their positionality, and it's exhausting to say the least. I've also been witnessing way too many conversations on racism or Black-related topics that disregard the material conditions of Black people. And that's just beyond whack, too. I don't know what it would take for a reckoning on this, but I think it's extremely necessary and overdue. Quote-unquote allies causing a ton of harm, with the reductionist commentary that just simply isn't productive to the reality of Black people. And nobody be clocking it. No me gusta. Tying it back to this, I think that if you're not helping Black people, I think if you're not pushing us forward, I mean, how many enemies? Wow, I sounded like Nemo from Finding Nemo's. Anemones. How many enemies do we have, bro? Like, but if it's not for the color of our skin, if it's not from the way we talk, if it's not from the way we walk, if it's not from the way that we do our hair, if it's not from the way that we carry ourselves, if it's not for just being quiet, like, I just don't think people, especially people who are non-Black, if you're not helping us, you're hurting us. And I just think this is another example of that. It's a nicer version of what I had to say. Pues sí, mi gente. That's really all I had to say. I talked about so many topics this time around. Let me know how you feel and what you think. Make sure to share, download, comment, and all those good things. Y sí. Eso es pa Reggaeton Con La Gata. Mis corazones, you know what time it is. It's time para las flores. Reggaeton Con La Gata is an iHeart Media production, co-executive produced by Nuria Net of Shake It Easy Media. Te quiero mucho, Nuria. This episode is edited by Joaquin Kotler. Te quiero mucho. Shout out to my production assistants, Naomi Acevedo and Kayla Eccleston, de las mías. The music is by Javi Vibes, and I'm your host, La Gata. See you right here next week on Reggaeton Con La Gata, right here on iHeart.